Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I think we're going to have fun today. This one's going to be a little bit different, but I think you'll like it. Today, I'm actually going to teach a tile in the round. It's been a while since I've done a Zendala, and if you don't have a Zendala, a couple of days ago I recorded a video where I showed how to make a couple of Zendalas if you don't have one, and I'm going to insert that in and then I'll be back. So this is just a piece of watercolor paper that my daughter and I were playing with Lindy's Magicals. It didn't turn out quite the way I wanted. I ended up kind of brushing away what was on top. And anyway, I just want to show you, don't throw away paper that you don't like, because now I'm going to turn it into a Zendala. So you can use anything that you have. This is an actual Zendala from Zentangle. It is 4.5 inches across, okay? And you could use this, you could use a roll of tape, you could use a coaster, whatever you want. But if you want to have a Zendala, then just make your own. Okay, and if this is too big to get another one, so now I could use this and have a smaller Zendala to play with. Okay, so just letting you know, take a pair of scissors, cut it out, and now you have your own round tile. Okay, I hope that was helpful. This is the tile that I cut out, and this is the other one, and it actually uses the pattern that we're going to do today. But I just want to tell you that I made this one out of a tissue box, and I made a couple of tiles just for practice from Canson XL mixed media paper. I get this from Walmart or Amazon. It's very good for practice. I make my sketchbooks out of it, and you can use that. You can use anything that you have. Just have fun with it, okay? The other thing that I'm going to use today is called the Zentangle Marcus Operandus. If you don't have this, don't worry about it, but I will have a link in the description down below the video. There will be the beginning of the description, and it will say ... more. Click on that, and you'll see a lot more information. Okay, so we are going to do, just like I showed you here, 2 patterns. One is brand new. It's called Loopline. That's what this is, from Joe Lupo. He is a friend on Instagram. And the other pattern that we're going to do is called Arkand, and it is from Lynn Hensley. And I will do my best to remember to put links in the description to the step outs for these 2 patterns. They're fun and easy, and I think you're going to enjoy this. The supplies I'm going to be using are a round tile. Oops, I need to back that up. Okay. And this one is 4.5 inches wide. I will probably use my Micron 01, my Micron PN, and my Graphite one. And this one is running out of ink. I need to buy another one. This is my blending tool, also known as a tortillon. And I keep this in there. It's just a paper clip so that I can keep the tip a little bit pointed. And I'm going to have my kneaded eraser close by. All right. So the way that I'm going to use the Marcus operandus is that I want to have this divided in 6 ways. And again, you don't have to do this. This is just something that I want to do so that I have a nice pattern. Okay. So I'm just going to divide it here. Okay. So if you look at the Marcus operandus, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for this pattern, I want to put 6 on there. So I'm just going to very lightly put these lines. And I'm sorry that it has some other odd lines on it. I need to turn this. Okay, so I am connecting these 2 lines. Okay, so that just gives me a good place to start. And the other thing I want to do is I'm going to put this border, and this is Loopline. I'm going to put this around the outside, and I want to have my border in about that far. Okay, so I have put my fingernail against that, and then I put the pencil where I want it, so about that far in, and then I'm just going to gently turn this piece of paper as it is bumped up against my fingernail. Hopefully that makes sense. And it's not giving me a perfect line, because we don't do perfect, but it is giving me a guide. Okay? So with, sorry, I'm looking for my scrap paper. Okay, so with Loopline, it's very simple. And I'm going to use my Micron PN. And you can do a forward S like this, okay? And then what Joe does is come around and touch like that. And then there's another S. Come down a little bit. Make another S. Come back around. Okay, it's that simple. You can do a forward S. You can do a backward S. You know, whatever is most comfortable for you. So if I did it this way, then I would be coming around like this. Okay, like that. And then he has another version where he leaves it open. So it would be going like this. Okay, and then he puts dots in here. On the first version, he puts the little orbs here. Okay, so you can fill it in solid. You can do like this and put a little bit of enthatching in each side, whatever you would like to do. Okay, so we're going to follow this outside border, and I'm going to just start making my little S shapes. I'm not looking for perfection. Take a deep breath, relax. We're just drawing an S, okay? Come around, come back, and this is just to give me an idea of where I want my line to be. I don't have to be perfect on it. When I first started Zentangle, I was very much comparing myself to other people, not only on social media, but when I started going to a class, there were people who had been taking Zentangle probably for a few years, and they were really good at what they were doing. And so I ended up making a sign in the front of my notebook that basically said, this is not a contest. You're not being graded. Just enjoy drawing one line at a time. Well, some people saw my notebook and they asked me to print that sign, so I did. And it's still a good reminder for me. I do have a copy of that. If you happen to want it, you can send me an email. And my email is notperfectzen@gmail.com. Okay, so we're just going around, just making a bunch of S's. And they're not all exactly the same. But I guarantee you when we finish, it's not going to matter. It's still going to look great. If you happen to not touch it there, and just finish your line. Okay, just keep making your S. And as you get closer to where you're going to meet the other one, then we will make adjustments as needed. Okay. So this one is going to come around and go in here. All right. So that's the first step for Loopline. And I'm going to fill it in like you see here. So that's why I have my graphic one, because it's really fast. It's got a thicker tip and it's quickly running out of ink, so I'm going to have to get me another one. But I mostly use it when I need a thick line or I want to fill something in. Now, I don't speed up my videos. Watching a video that is sped up makes me very anxious, and it gives me the impression that Zentangle art needs to be done quickly. And that is just the opposite of the Zentangle methodology. We want to do this slowly and enjoy what we're doing. Even when you're filling something in, if you don't have a graphic one, then just use your pen or any pen that you have. In fact, you don't have to have Micron. What's nice about the Micron pens is that they are archival ink, which means that it won't fade. It's waterproof, so that if we happen to do some watercolor over your tile, in fact, you could do this drawing first and then add watercolor, then these pens won't bleed into the water. Okay, definitely need a new pen. And I will go back over these later. But I do want you to see how pretty this is. Okay, we're about halfway through. So next week, is it next week? No, in about a week and a half, on June 19th, will be my 5-year anniversary of when I became a CZT. I'm so happy that I did it. When I first became a CZT, my intent was to teach veterans, because I am a veteran. I spent 6 years in the U.S. Air Force. And so I went to CZT training in June of 2019 and started helping my CZT with her classes as she needed at a local community college. And then she wasn't able to teach full-time because her husband was sick. So I took over classes in January of 2020. So I got 6 classes finished before COVID hit. And then I did my classes, because I already had them planned. I already had to have the lesson plans done before the semester started. So I did my classes on Zoom. And that was interesting. And eventually I wanted to have a place where I could show my videos and store them. And I thought, well, what about YouTube? And that's how I got started on YouTube. And that has worked out really well for me. Okay, almost done. I'm sorry, this is actually taking a little longer than I meant for it to. Again, I don't speed up the videos, but you can speed them up with the YouTube controls. I also don't put music because I find it to be very distracting. Okay, so that is step 1. And then we're going to put the little orbs on the outside. I'm going to do mine a little bit different. He had solid dots or orbs. I am switching to my Micron PN, and we're just going to put a little orb on each side of these lines. Just enjoy one little orb at a time. So Zentangle is currently doing their 20th anniversary celebration. And that's the 20th anniversary of when they started teaching others to become CZTs. So it's been 20 years. They've actually had Zentangle around a little bit longer than that. So it's kind of fun to be celebrating my 5 years at the same time that they're celebrating 20 years. Filling in these a little bit more as I see they need it. Keep in mind, when you've put so much ink on here, try not to put your hands on that because it takes a little bit longer for it to dry. I got to know Joe, the creator of this, on Instagram. So if you have an Instagram account, you can go look at his work. He does some really awesome Zentangle tiles and photography. Okay, so there we go. That is Loopline. I think it's so pretty. And like I said, on this one, I left it open in the center, and you wouldn't have to ink it in. You could just use a different color in these, or use your graphite pencil to shade those. Just do it the way that you want. And then here's a tile that I started. I think I'm going to put some kind of a quote in the center of this. I just think this is such a pretty pattern. I love simple patterns that are easy to learn and easy to repeat. All right. Arkand is what we're going to put in the center. This is also a very simple pattern. She starts with just this seed shape, okay? And then on each side of the seed, she brings it up and makes it a little bit thicker on the end, like fescue, if you know that. And come around the other side. Okay. And on this side. And then she also has a variation where she puts something dark in the center. So, very simple. And this one has 5 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But since we divided this into 6, we're going to do 6. And again, I'm using my Micron PN. And this is where I put my lines. Hopefully you can still see that. Excuse me. So I'm going to start here. And come back down. Okay. About the width of my thumb, end of my thumb. We're just going to go around and do that 6 times. Trying to make them about the same width. I made that one kind of fat. It's okay. And they don't have to exactly line up. I do have that perfectionist in me that wants things to be just right. And I was happy when Zentangle came out with the Marcus operandus. I do have a video for this, so if you're interested, I will put a link to my video down in the description, and also a link so that you know how to get the Marcus operandus if you want it. Because you can use it for a Zendala, you can also use it for a 3.5 inch tile, or if you make smaller little round ones, they can go, well, smaller. That'll work too. All right, so now we have our little seeds in the center. And I'm just going to go to the bottom and start bringing these little, what I would call fescues. If you're new to Zentangle, fescue looks just like that. Okay. The fescue pattern is simply just a line with a little, almost like a teardrop at the end. Okay. F-E-S-C-U. Okay. So I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that little dark spot in the center. I like how that looks. Adds drama. Okay, so we're going to bring that around and do that on all of these little seeds that we drew. I just think this is such a pretty little pattern, and it's so simple. I like simple because it's so much more relaxing. When I started Zentangle, I was looking for a way to meditate, and Zentangle pretty much replaced my meditation practice because I was able to relax and calm my mind more with Zentangle than I did with meditation. So I do it every day, morning and night. The only time I missed a lot was when I was going through my chemotherapy. Okay, just keep coming around. So just simple C curves with a big end. And another, almost like a teardrop in the middle. So the reason I wanted to do the Marcus operandus was to space these out nicely. I still didn't get them spaced quite the same, but it's okay. We're not looking for perfection. We're learning how to create art. And we're not doing it for anybody but ourselves. And if you want to compare with somebody, then compare with how you used to do it. You should see the first Zentangle that I did. It was okay. But after 5 years of practice, I can do better. Okay. All right. Last one. Okay. So that basically, is Arkand. Okay? I'm going to keep going. When I was playing with this, I was thinking, well, what if, and I think I actually saw something similar, but what if I put an aura around this? So let's do that. I'm just going to start here. And I'm going to come around. I'm going to go ahead and go in a little bit. And then just keep coming around. Go down into this one. Come around. Loop down a little. Turn your tile. This ends up making it look more like a flower. I love botanical type patterns. And I just really wanted to do something fun today. And don't be afraid to do something different. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm giving you ideas. Allow your own creativity to come out. If your brain says, well, what if we do something different? Then just try it. It's just paper. Okay? Just have fun. All right. So now we have that aura. And I'm going to put an orb on the end of each of these. And I'm going to fill it in. I'm going to give it some more drama. And I left a little spot open, a sparkle. So just draw a little orb inside and then leave that open. And all of this is just from thinking, well, what if I put an aura? What if I put a little dark orb at the end of each? Just have fun with it. And if I don't like how it looks with these watercolor lines, which I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could put more watercolor. You could use watercolor brushes, watercolor pencils, regular pencils, whatever, to make it the way that you want it. All right, something that I saw when I was looking at how other people had done Arkand is that they used it also just individually. So I'm going to come up here and add another one in between each of these. And then I'm going to do what's called enthatching. So I'm just putting a few lines in the side of each of these, okay? And you could put more little lines, okay? So again, I'm just starting with that seed shape. I'm going to add the little fescue coming around on each side. And then a little bit of lines on each end. And again, Zentangle calls that enthatching. And you're just putting your pen down, just barely flicking it to give a little line inside, okay? That's one of my favorite ways to add shading. Okay. And again, I attempt to make things the same size, but if they're not, it doesn't matter. Okay, bring that around. And you could make these, like I said, larger, smaller. And if you're ever traveling and you don't have a pencil for shading, you can use your pen. Okay. Oops, sorry, I hope I wasn't off the screen. All right, what do you think? I had a lot of fun doing this. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these in the very center. And I think it just kind of brings it all together. So you don't have to do this. You know, you can watch the video, decide what parts you do and don't want to do. I have some wonderful people that post their tiles on Facebook and Instagram, and you know who you are. And they take each of these tiles to a new level, and I just love it. Adding color, adding other little patterns, whatever you would like to do is perfect. Okay, so I can't see them much, but if you want to, you can go around and erase the lines. Definitely wait until your ink is dry, but I'm taking the lines out of the center. Okay, next we're going to add some shading. So I have my Zentangle graphite pencil and my blending tool, and I'm just going to put a little bit of graphite at the bottom of each of these, just a little, and then some here. So where all these lines come together at the bottom, that's always a good place to put a little bit of shading. And a little at the top, so it looks kind of like what we have here. Okay, now I'm going to take my blending tool and just softly push that into the paper, and then bring this up gently. We don't want to pull a whole lot up, and just on the outside of this little seed. A little thing I like to do is just, like I said, think about what if I added more patterns? What if I added more shading? Don't be afraid to have fun with it, because this is your art. All right, how about that? And what if we came around and just added a little bit of shading, just a little bit of graphite all around the outside of this flower that we've created. It'll make it almost look like it's floating. Yeah, another thing you could do, if you don't put these little flowers, is put another background pattern. That's always fun. I always look at what other people have done. I get inspiration from everybody's art, and then I make it mine. Not an exact copy, but putting my own ideas, my own flair on it. Okay. Now we're going to soften that. Just very tiny circles. Push it in and kind of soften it so you don't see an edge. I love that Zentangle has small tiles and they're easy to work with. You can get something done in a short amount of time and you have a beautiful piece of art. If you think you don't like it when you first finish, put it aside. Also, hold it at arm's length. That's one thing that Rick and Maria always tell us, is to hold it at arm's length and look at it again. Okay, I'm kind of bringing these all up to where they meet the bottom of this other flower. Just because. All right. Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing. Now, in the beginning of my videos, you always see my practice tile. So this is what I did to practice for this. And I like it when there's a little bit of color on the very edge of the tile. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to put this under here. And the way I did that was I just took my graphite pencil. And again, watch what I'm doing so you can decide if you want to do it or not. And then I just went along the edge. I have my pencil almost flat. And I'm just adding graphite. And I really liked how it looked. It was a what if moment. What if I put graphite all around the edge? And I really liked what it did for that practice. And this was done, this is done on the Canson XL paper, okay? Just a simple piece of paper. You can do this in your scrapbook. You can do it on cardstock. Although I do find that some cardstock doesn't do very well when you start trying to blend the pencil, the graphite pencil. Okay, so now, again, I have my blending stump on the side, and I'm just rubbing that to soften the edge. You can bring it in as much as you want. Bringing it all the way around. And it gives it a whole new look. So there's that one. Let me zoom out. Okay. And then again, there it is on the pink one. And there's Loopline on a gray tile. And this is a paper that I got from Dick Blick. And it's, well, actually it might not be. I don't have anything written on there. I do buy sketchbooks that are in gray and take paper out of those and make tiles. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I encourage you always to put your pattern names on the back of your tile. I think I had it back here. Yes. Loopline by Joe Lupo and Arkand by Lynn Hensley. The step outs for this are part of a Tangle Addicts video that I watched. Heather Hartwick Gladden. I will leave a link to her videos. She does a video almost, I think, every day. Zentangle Quickie that I love. And that's how I found Joe's pattern. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, leave comments. Let me know if you have any questions. And I always read your comments. I always reply. And if you send me email, I love that too. So thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.